Welcome to Be a Voice. This is Britt Carpenter on USALA Radio. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited about our guest today. Today we'll be speaking with the newly reigned and crowned Miss Philadelphia, Jacqueline Means. Jacqueline, welcome to our show today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited for us to have a wonderful chat.
Likewise. I'm really excited as well because I had the opportunity a few years ago to interview Lisa Bainbridge in 2019.
Oh, she's so sweet.
She's amazing. She really is. She really educated me a lot because when I did the interview with her, I did it with her because her platform at the time was basically talking about substance use disorder and the opioid epidemic. And I work closely with that. So I connected. I didn't know much about pageants. So being able to learn from her and then be able to attend the recent Miss Philadelphia on February the 18th, where you were crowned, which is a really exciting night, really interesting night. I'm excited to have you so we can learn a little bit more about, pageants, about Miss Philadelphia and about you yourself.
Yes.
So your name is Jacqueline Means, right?
Yes. Jacqueline is like the full businessy name, but I just go by Jackie. I think that is just so much shorter and easier to say.
Sounds good. I could do that. I could do Jackie. And that's simple. So Jackie, I know a little bit about you. You recently have been crowned Miss Philadelphia. How does that feel?
It's just surreal and unbelievable because, you prep for months and months for your interview, for your talent, for everything. And then, the day comes and it goes by in the blink of an eye. And then, they call your name and it's like, did they just say my name?
That's
really?
Amazing.
So it's an unreal moment, but it's amazing to go back and watch it on video. And I'm like, they really did call my name and I really am wearing the crown now. So it's really wonderful. It's just overwhelming, I would say.
That's exciting. That's great. And we were there that evening, so we were able to see you be crowned and saw the expression on your face and saw the joy and the natural excitement. Were you truly shocked?
I really was because the other girls were also amazing. I mean, one of the girls had this talent where she does karate and breaks boards on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I don't know if the judges will like more my, backflips or her breaking boards. I mean, they're both pretty cool stuff. So I was just, I was like, whoever wins tonight is going to be a great representative no matter what. But I said, it makes me different. I don't know. It really makes me different.
Wow. Okay.
No. I would say my true commitment and passion for giving back really makes me different because I've had, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it, but the initiative I use as my social impact initiative, my thing that I give back through, I've had for 8 years. And I don't know anyone else who has had an initiative for 8 years. So it really, I think, shows my dedication to my cause. So maybe that's what the judges saw, but the other girls did amazing. And I think that's what's so special about pageants. Oftentimes, pageant girls get branded as this catty group, but really pageant girls are some of the most supportive women you'll ever meet. They're always cheering for you and rooting for you. So I was really happy to be around those women that day and to have been picked and still be in contact with those wonderful women today.
That's amazing. That's great. And we are going to talk about your initiative in a little bit because you are also known as the STEM Queen. Which I thought was really cool because if you just even Google STEM Queen, you show up all over.
I love that.
Because I thought to myself, I want to see what happens if I Google STEM Queen and it shows up and it said STEM Queen, Jackie Means. So awesome. It was pretty cool. And we're going to talk about that. But, let's talk about pageantry. How long have you been involved in this and what got you involved? I mean, this is a very specific niche that people go into and to do. And how did the roads lead here for you?
The main reason I got into pageants was because of the scholarship aspect. And my mom actually brought them up to me. She was like, there's this thing that you can do. It's called a pageant. I'd never heard of them before. And she said, you just do a talent. Of course, you can dance or cheer or do your flips. And then you have an interview. They just ask you some questions about yourself. And that's basically it. There's a couple other things you do, but that's the main stuff. And I said, well, that sounds fun. I love to do my flips and I love to perform and I'm happy to answer questions. So why not? And it's been a crazy journey. A couple of years ago, I was Miss Delaware's Outstanding Teen, which is also under the Miss America organization, just like the Miss Philadelphia title. And it's really been just wonderful. I feel that the skills and the life lessons I've learned through pageants have been so beneficial. I mean, if you tried to talk to me 5 years ago before I got into pageants, I don't think I would be talking as well as I am now, able to articulate my thoughts, clearly and effectively. Just pageants have helped so much with that. And like I mentioned before, the friendships that they've brought along with it, it's been amazing. So it's been quite a journey, and I'm happy to still be on that journey and continue to meet wonderful women and still learn how to, be a better person through pageants.
It's excellent. It sounds like it's very empowering for you. and for the women involved with it and all your and all the colleagues that are involved. I mean, it was noticeable. You could see in the air. You could feel it in the air. You could see the camaraderie between, the ladies on stage and even the families and everything, and just how supportive they were. I was actually able to afterwards talk with Hallie's mother, the that who was Miss Philadelphia prior to you, correct? Am I saying her name correctly?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And she was just extremely supportive of everything and just talking and shared a lot. So it was excellent to hear that. And so you've been doing this 5 years. This is your fifth year.
Yep, I think I want to say this is my fifth year. I actually started out by losing my very first local in Delaware, and I remember being so discouraged. I was like, "How could the judges not pick me?" Looking back, there was quite a lot that could have been a lot better. And I think that's another thing that's so great about pageants: being able to take those critiques and not take them as insults, but taking them as ways to improve myself and improve how I present myself and my talent and all those different things. Over the years, every pageant I've either won or lost, no matter the outcome, has taught me something in some way. So it really has just helped me, like I said, become a better person, better my character, better how I communicate, and just become better overall. It's really been amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I really like to hear that. So 5 years ago you started. So you're 15 when you started this?
Yeah, right
14?
on 15.
Okay. So hearing no at that age for anybody is a difficult thing. How did you process that when you heard the no? How did you feel and what did that make you do?
So when they had crowned the other girl, I remember saying like, "I'm never doing this again. This was an awful experience," but I actually had a very nice time. I just didn't like that I didn't win. But it was my friend who actually was at Miss Philadelphia, and that's just proof that these friendships last a lifetime. My friend Ellie, who was there that day, and she was like, "Why are you crying? There's another pageant." And I was like, "I'm not doing another pageant. This was awful. I didn't win." And she was like, "I've never won a local before. And I've been doing this for 3 years." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'll be at the next one. And if I don't win that one, I'll be at the next one." And I remember being like, well, if she's going to persevere and keep trying, why can't I persevere and keep trying? So that was really I don't want to be dramatic, but it was a life altering moment for me because, that encouragement and that support, empowered me to continue on. And I won that next local. And then I went to states that following year, not that year, I lost that year, but the following year and won Miss Delaware's Outstanding 18. And then, years later to become Miss Philadelphia. So that single moment of support from my friend in 5 years ago has still impacted my life to this day. So it was a learning moment, a teaching moment for me, and I learned a lot from it. And that was really life altering because it showed me that I can continue on and I can take those critiques and I can take those no's and take them in stride and keep on going.
That's excellent. Good for Ellie. Let's give a shout out to Ellie for that. It's keeping you in check and keeping you going, motivated. I love it. So, and you and Ellie are still friends. She was there that night, you said?
That night, yep, she was right on stage. They do like a family and friends picture. She was right up there with me. My blonde bestie, she's awesome. But yeah, Ellie has been definitely just one of my biggest supporters in the last several years. Really, one of my dearest friends I've met through pageants.
Nice. I've always wondered, because of course, growing up, you always watch, the Miss America pageant. So
Mhm.
you always see that, you always watch it. I always wondered, how do you develop? What do you decide? Like, that's going to be my talent. That's what I'm going to do on stage. Because, that also has to be something to set you apart from the rest. So what made you
Totally.
decide upon your talent? What was the thing that said, I'm going to do this?
So I've actually been doing competitive cheer since I was 3 years old. And I stopped, I want to say 3 years ago, but thankfully I retained just about every skill I learned over the multiple years I spent, in cheerleading. So, my back flips, my back tucks, my splits, all that good stuff. And I said, well, I can't go up there and go 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's try and make it a little more dancey. So I just, took something that I had been doing for years, my flips, and then combined it with some dance elements, and that was my talent. So I think for a lot of girls, it's just either something they've been doing a long time that they select as their talent, or something, they feel they can work on. Like if they, write poetry for fun, maybe they start taking it a little more seriously. But yeah, just doing something that they feel that will really show the judges, hey, this is something I'm amazing at, and I hope you are entertained by what I present to you.
And obviously they were, because look where you're at. So that's awesome. So you choreographed your whole talent yourself, that whole talent portion?
routine is actually the same one I did from, I want to say, Miss Delaware's Outstanding Teen. I just tweaked it the tiniest bit because I said, let's update it a little bit, add some new skills. But that routine was choreographed by myself. And then I had an acro choreographer and an African dance choreographer too. And then my contortion instructor didn't choreograph. She just helped me learn to bend my body because it had been a few years since I had done that stuff. But yeah, just a bunch of input. And I think that's what makes it so fun. It's always great to get, different perspectives and
Mhm.
say, this is better than that and really make it the best it can be.
Nice. Nice. So currently you are a student doing your undergrad at UD, University of Delaware?
Yes, University of Delaware.
University of Delaware. You've been there for, this is your third year?
This is my third year. Yep.
Your
I
third
am a
year.
pre-med major and a neuroscience minor. So just lots and lots and lots of science classes, chemistry classes, organic chemistry classes. It seems they took the entire list of the science courses they offer at UD and said, this is what you're going to take over the next 4 years.
And did you know growing up that you wanted to be a doctor? You wanted to go into pre-med?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember being like 7 years old and saying to my mom, Mom, I want to be a neurosurgeon. Now I was I was saying like neurosurgeon because I didn't know how to say it. But it's actually funny how I came upon that career. I was on my computer or my mom's computer because it was in the living room. I just considered it mine because I was always on it. But I was on the living room computer and I was playing some online game and this like neurosurgery simulator game popped up. And I was like, neurosurgery? What is that? And I played the game and I was absolutely mesmerized. I mean, it was, a kid's game, but they had some really good facts in there. They talked about the cerebellum, which is, the back
Mhm.
portion of the brain on the bottom. They talked about the meninges of the brain, these three layers that are on top of the brain before you get to the actual brain itself, and gray matter and white matter and all this different stuff.
Mhm.
And I was so just mesmerized by what I was learning. I remember going and looking up YouTube videos about neurosurgery and finding out all I could about it. And it just really, from like 7 years old, was something I was just so amazed by. And ever since then, I've just always wanted to do something with neuro and with neurosurgery and all that stuff. And I just continued with it. I mean, that game really changed my life. This silly little app on the computer, inspired me so much. But it was really interesting to read about that stuff. And I'm still fascinated years later.
That's excellent. I mean, I couldn't even play the game Operation without the thing buzzing on me. So, that is so cool. And it's even more interesting because your name, do you know what your name translates or means?
Okay. Jacqueline comes from the French Jacques, because I think it's like officially pronounced Jacqueline, but I'm not
Mhm.
sure. I don't want to butcher it. But Jacques, I looked it up like a while ago. I can't remember. Do you know what it means? I wouldn't
Well,
know.
I had looked it up and it means holder of the heel. So basically,
Oh.
someone, who is healing or helping people to heal. And it also means may God protect.
Oh, that's kind of fitting. The holder of the heel, and also, kind of a blessing. May God protect.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Wow.
Absolutely. I thought it was pretty cool because I learned that prior to even learning about you being a pre med student. So it was almost
Hmm.
like, it's almost meant to be, it's
I think
aligning
it
there
is.
for you. So, so you're a junior at UD, and this means now what for you? Because over the next year, you are going to be doing at least 100 appearances. So how
Busy
are you going to,
schedule. I'm so excited for it.
and how are you going to balance school and all these appearances?
People swear I'm joking when I say this, but I am so 100% serious. I have 3 calendars in my room. I have one for the week, one for the month, and one for the year. I use all of them to keep me on track and to make sure I'm doing my tasks and everything I need to get done and accomplish everything I need to accomplish within, the set time frame. So just making sure I continue to prioritize, continue to make sure that, school is of course number one, but my volunteers and, of course my title is also very important to me. So prioritizing those things as well. But also, not forgetting to take some time for myself and make sure that I'm not, going crazy with all the appearances and schoolwork and taking
Right.
time to just relax and play my video games and binge watch some anime. So, just doing that stuff that still makes me really happy. So I would say the key is prioritizing. That's really something that keeps me on track.
And you're good with that, prioritizing and
Mhm.
multitasking and
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I always have like my list of things I have to get done in the day, even if it means going to bed, 3 a.m., hopefully getting it
Mhm.
done before 3 a.m. But just writing down everything I want to accomplish in that day and making sure I get it done. Hook, hook, hook.
Heck, with 3 calendars, you should get it done. I would hope you do. So that's a
Yeah.
lot. That's a lot of organization. I might have you help me out because I have trouble with
It's a lot of
one.
color
So,
coding.
oh, you use the highlighters then to color
Yeah,
code where things go.
I have like every expo marker color in the rainbow. If any of my family is listening to this, if you think a birthday gift for me, just expo markers. That's what I always need.
Yellow, you transfer the next day. Green was a go, and the red didn't. Yep, I get
Yeah.
it. Reschedules. I like it. I like it a lot. So you mentioned what you do for escaping to get out of your head. You watch what?
I watch a lot of anime. So, for anyone who doesn't know, anime is Japanese animation. And I say this to anybody and everybody. I am a huge nerd in every sense of the word. I love STEM, science, tech, engineering, and math. I play video games. I do stuff with 3D printing. I watch anime. Just a nerd in every sense. And I play chess. I mean, you don't get much more nerdy than that.
Ooh,
So, but I love it. I think nerd is people have given it a negative connotation. I love being a nerd. I give it a positive connotation because I think it's a positive thing. But yeah, Japanese animation. I love it. The art style is so beautiful. The stories are always great. Even if they're silly, they're always fun to watch. And I just love it. It's great.
very cool. And there's nothing wrong with being a self-professed nerd. That's okay. I like it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think so. Nerds make money. So who doesn't want to be a nerd?
And you want to make some money, huh? You got to pay those.
Absolutely.
You got to pay those medical school bills back. But
You do.
so, being crowned Miss Philadelphia, what does that give you? What does it entitle you to? What comes along with that?
There are so many benefits, too many to list for this interview. We'd be here all day. But that's a great thing, you know?
Right.
The main stuff that, kind of attracts people to the pageant is that you win a scholarship. I won a $6,000 scholarship, which I am, of course, going to put right towards UD, paying off all the bills for my organic chemistry classes and whatnot. But you get the $6,000 scholarship, and then you also, thanks to our sponsor, Cabrini, get a full tuition scholarship to Cabrini. So I intend to use that in just a few years to go and get an MIS degree because in the past I interned at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine and at Nemours Children's Hospital. And at both of those internships, the one thing my mentor said to me was, I wish I had done more with technology because medicine is becoming so technology based. And I was like, well, if I ever get the opportunity, I'm going to take that advice. So thanks to Cabrini, one of our sponsors, I get to do that for free, which is amazing. And there's so many more sponsorships. There's dress sponsors, shoe sponsors, hair sponsors, nail sponsors. I mean, just so many wonderful organizations in Philadelphia and even other places as well who have, given their support to not only myself as Miss Philadelphia, but my wonderful teen Eva, who is Miss Philadelphia's teen. So both of us get to enjoy quite a lot of just free, awesome stuff throughout our reign and even after.
That's great. That's so amazing to hear all this stuff. So I want to take it to the Cabrini. So you're going to be going for your undergrad in pre-med, and then you're going to be going back for another one.
Yeah, so right now I'm at UD for my undergrad with my pre-med and my neuroscience. So I'll finish that up, and then I've got a couple of years to use the Cabrini scholarship. So I'll have to figure out where that'll fit in on my timeline, but I definitely want to go ahead and get that MIS degree because tech is becoming such a huge part of medicine. And MIS is all about managing things. So I think that would be really great too, because you see, I'm a very type A, organized person. So that, falls right into my forte.
That's great. Cabrini, good for Cabrini for doing that, to get that scholarship
really,
out to you. And
awesome.
And it continues your education. It gives you something to go on to do something a little different.
Absolutely.
So after UD, what are the plans?
Somewhere fit in there Cabrini after that. But my big goal is to go to medical school. I am so excited and nervous and just terrified and all the feels about medical school. But I'm excited to learn. That's the number one thing. I'm so excited to learn. As much fun as it is, taking the classes for my prereqs for medical school, like physics and organic chemistry and statistics. I can't wait to just hone in on the medical stuff. That's, why I want to become a doctor, of course. I find medicine fascinating. So I'm really excited to learn just everything I can in medical school. But I'm scared, but also excited.
Which was more nerve-wracking for you, thinking about medical school or thinking about competing for Miss Philadelphia?
I feel Miss Philadelphia right now just because that was, more recent, more tangible. I just did that. But I think once I start preparing for the MCAT and taking that test, I think that'll be very real as well. But I would have to say right now, definitely Miss Philadelphia. That the preparation, the time, the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into that really, it's just you have to really dedicate. You have to want it really bad. You can't just, go for it part way. You got to really put your full effort into it. So I would say Miss Philly, but I'll let you know in a couple of years.
Nice. So with Miss Philadelphia, there are 5 areas that you are based on, 5 criteria they judge you on. Is that correct?
Hmm.
And the
Let's
one
see.
is talent.
So there's talent, there's
Mhm.
interview. I feel like I've blocked it out of my head.
You're
There's
like, I can't
talent,
do it
there's
anymore.
interview. There's your social impact pitch on stage.
Mhm.
And then there's your evening gown. And then there's one more. There's not all of them. I want to say that's all of them. Well, we can double check that later.
It's okay.
But
Okay.
those are the big ones that I can think
Mhm.
of off the top of my head right now. And the social impact pitch portion is actually pretty new. Um, on stage question. That's the other one. I got it. On stage question.
And it's funny. I
The
was just going
social
to say to
impact.
you,
Yeah, that's the one I missed. That's also another stressful one. I probably did block that one out. But
what was your on-stage question?
my onstage question was something along the lines of, "Oh, how do you give back through your initiative?" Because the onstage question is kind of supposed to be like a continuation of your interview. Like if the
Okay.
judges got to ask you one last question in the interview, that's the question they pick for your onstage one. And we talked a lot about how I give back in my interview, and I guess they wanted to hear a little more about what specifically I do. And I had said to them, I give back by doing what I do best through the organization I founded 8 years ago, going into schools and community centers and churches and really anywhere with kids that'll have me come in and do some hands on fun learning with their kids by showing them just engaging science experiments and STEM demonstrations, showing them that, this is fun and exciting, but mainly something you can do. It can feel so far fetched when you think of a scientist, like there's this disconnect between yourself and a scientist. They're not, they're not one and the same. There's this disconnect. And I really try to bridge that gap and show them that no, this is something you can do.
That's excellent. So it's a good segue to talk about, your initiative. Your initiative.
Mhm.
You, for 7 years, have carried this initiative, correct? So since you're how many?
This is
7?
year 8.
You're 8. So basically,
Mhm.
since you were like 12 years old.
Yep, right around 12.
Wow. I mean, for a 12-year-old to come up with an initiative like you're about to talk about, that's pretty incredible. Tell us a little bit about what or who the STEM Queen is and what it stands for.
Sure. So the reason behind the initiative, and also kind of behind the name, is so I grew up in a very underserved and really underprivileged part of Wilmington, Delaware, called Southbridge. And Southbridge
Mhm.
has been dubbed Murder Town USA by Newsweek. And of course, growing up there, where there's a high rate of shootings and violence and just crime, my mom did not let me go outside like at all. It was straight to school to straight home, nowhere in between. And of course, I had to find something fun to do indoors. And, one of the things I did inside was play those games on that computer in the living room where I found out about neurosurgery. But in addition to that, I like to do experiments. I love to go in the kitchen, really sneak in the kitchen because my mom was like, stay out of there. But go into the kitchen and get, baking soda and vinegar and some food dye, mix it all up and watch the reaction bubble up and make a huge mess. But really, try to figure out what's going on there. And I thought it was so fascinating. And I would tell my friends, "Oh, here's what I did this weekend. I made slime out of glue and contact solution, etc." Or I, did a mini explosion, and they were like, "Girl, stop talking. That is so boring." And I was like, "You are so wrong. This is incredible, exciting stuff. Like, why aren't you as pumped about this as I am?" And that kind of became my motivation for creating the initiative. I said, I've got to find a way to convince kids, mainly girls, that STEM is fun and it's something that we can do. I don't know why they don't like it, but they need to know that this is exciting and they need to like it as much as I do. And that was the motivation. And that's continued over the last years and has grown and developed into more than that idea, into my whole initiative and using it to give back and everything. And then hence the title STEM Queen. I said, well, I'm going to let these kids know that I am a queen, and science, tech, engineering, and math is what I am the queen of.
And you're reigning well. So that's awesome. I love to
Thank
hear it.
you.
Tell me how many in these 8 years, how many youth have you served? Have you worked with in
Oh
this
my
initiative?
gosh. It's so, like, crazy to count and think about it at really, but by, if I had to guess, I would say at least 6,500. I mean, over 8 years going to multiple community centers and schools and doing things for, individual classrooms, sometimes whole, assemblies of every student in that school. I mean, it's got to be somewhere up there. And it's been an amazing journey, and I'm so happy to still be on it. I love what I do, seeing the kids' faces light up when I, make something light on fire or, blow something up with liquid nitrogen. Just seeing how excited they get about it just warms my heart and is just further motivation to continue doing what I do.
As you were talking about contact solution and glue and baking soda making slime, I'm like, that's right up my alley. I'm like, I didn't know you could use that stuff. This is great. You're
Yes.
teaching me something. And this is really self-professed nerd stuff you're talking about here too. So
Yes. Professional nerd over here.
absolutely. Jacqueline, we're going to take a break right now, but we'll be back. Stay tuned because we'll be back with Jacqueline Means, the newly crowned Miss Philadelphia. See you shortly. This is Britt Carpenter with Be a Voice on USALA Radio. Welcome back to Be a Voice on USALA Radio. This is Britt Carpenter, and I am sitting here today with the newly crowned Miss Philadelphia, Jacqueline Means. Jacqueline, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yes, of course. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, likewise. I was just thinking about it as we were on break and we were talking a little bit about your campus life. Have you worn your crown and sash on campus yet?
No, it's so fresh and new. And going to UD, I feel like people would be like, "What is Miss Philadelphia doing here?" And I'm like, "Listen, listen, listen. Okay, there's a method to the madness." So not yet, but maybe I'll have to make an appearance, let them know, you've got royalty walking amongst you.
So that night, it was Saturday night. It was late. You were getting the pictures taken, everything. Did you walk out of there with your crown and sash on and wear it all night then?
The pictures, I feel like once people start to file out, they're like, "Oh, the pictures must be just about done." The pictures go on for like an hour. So I'm standing there in, those 5-inch heels and my gown with my flowers and my crown and all the gifts from the sponsors that came and whatnot. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's getting late. I could really use some dinner." So pictures finish. I go clean up the dressing room where all my stuff is. And by the time that's done, the pageant's over at say 9:30. I leave at like 11:30. So by then I am ready for bed. So no, I threw the crown and sash into a nicely little packaged box and then put on my sweatpants and my Crocs and headed home.
You're a Crocs wearer?
Yeah, I am.
That'd be perfect for the medical profession.
I think that is exactly what I'll wear when I'm scrubbing into my surgeries. I'll be in my comfy Crocs. I'll have them on, have all different kinds, bling ones.
I love it. I love it. So were you able to sleep that night?
Oh, I slept like a baby. The day started so early, and I think I had to get there at 9 a.m. And then, like I said, I was there until about 11:30ish or so. So it was a long, full day. And then, of course, emotions are running high and everything. And, I feel like my heart is just beating so fast the entire day. I was finally able to, take a breath, and my heart rate slowed down. So I slept like a baby, just like a baby.
Nice. That's awesome to hear. So this year, the pageant was held at Lincoln University.
Yes, and it was so special because Lincoln is an HBCU. So I was crowned in an HBCU during Black History Month, and I am the first Black Miss Philly crowned in quite a few years. So it really was just very kismet for all of that to happen. It was wonderful.
I love it. I didn't even have to ask any questions. You just took that and ran with it. So that's awesome. That's what it is. I mean, for people who don't know, Lincoln University is. Do you want to tell people about Lincoln a little bit so they understand and know why it's so special?
I know it's an HBCU, and it was really special because I don't know why the director decided to have it there, but it just worked out really nicely because, I ended up winning, and during Black History Month, it was just a very special moment. And Lincoln it is an HBCU, so that's awesome.
It's an historic one, that's for sure. It's been around for many, many years. So right there, that connection for you to be crowned there, that was kismet. It was meant to be. I love that you said that. I really do. So What's on your agenda now for the next year?
Well, I know that I am scheduled to do at least 100 appearances. I want to go over that. I'd like to do 200 if possible,
Whoa.
because I really am all about being out and about in the community. That is so important to me, and to be that representation for little girls who need someone to look up to, who need a positive role model in their lives. Because and I feel like that's part of the reason why I connect so well with Philadelphia and the people of Philadelphia. Wilmington, mainly Southbridge, where I grew up, is very similar and has very similar issues to Philadelphia. So to be able to be that positive representation, positive role model for kids there is so wonderful. So really my goal is just to be out and about in the community as much as I can, to continue to give back through not just my initiative, but in any way I can. If someone has an event, for blood donation, I'll be there. If someone has an event where they're talking about, Alex's lemonade stand, I'll be there, just to do anything and everything I can to be, just a support in the community.
Excellent. Excellent. So your platform, you're going to take, of course, your initiative you're going to carry forth is your STEM Queen. You're going to continue on with that. How do you plan on involving that and integrating that in with your reign as Miss Philadelphia?
Well, I have found that kids love when I wear the crown and sash and my lab coat. It's like the best of both worlds for them. They're like, oh my God, a scientist princess. Because they don't see this and go, oh, pageant queen. They go princess, which
Right.
I don't mind. But they love it. I mean, just, to show them that, hey, you can be a scientist, you can be a nerd, but you can also be, a pageant queen. You can also be someone who wins scholarship competitions, and just let them know that you can do it all. As long as you put in the effort and the time and, persevere through those obstacles that might come your way, you can do anything you put your mind to. So the kids love it. So I am ready and prepared to wear this crown and sash plus the lab coat and go blow some little minds with my experiments.
Gosh, your energy is awesome. Your energy is really amazing. Are you always this upbeat?
I have the energy of like a kid, so it works out that I work with kids.
That's great. How was your mom? Was she excited about this? Your family reactions?
Elated. Oh my gosh, we have a thing where my mom, it's almost as though she's competing in the pageant. She gets so nervous and excited, just like I do. That just shows how dedicated she is. I mean, we are just two peas in the pod, me and that lady. But she's awesome. So we have a thing where she cannot record the crowning moment, because she tends to just like take the phone. And then as soon as my name is called, she just goes, whoa, and like drops the phone. So we don't let her hold it anymore, because that happened at my first local I won. It happened at Miss Delaware's Outstanding Teen. So we just have someone else do it. But she was just over the moon, ecstatic. She's my number one supporter. So she was, I want to say, even more excited than I was.
I bet. So how many pageants have you won altogether? You won Miss Delaware Outstanding Teen.
Local, Delaware's Outstanding Teen. And then I was just Miss Black USA Talented Teen for when I want to say 2021, I want to say. But so they're 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5, I believe.
Congratulations. What were you just in Miss what in 2021?
So I was Miss Black USA Talented Teen. And if you haven't heard of the Miss Black USA organization, it is the oldest and largest provider of scholarships to women of color. So another, great scholarship organization. As you can see, I love to compete. I really do. And to be a role model. So it just, all these different pageant systems provide wonderful opportunities to compete and give back and be that positive representation.
Excellent. It's funny, as you were talking about your mother and how she, may get more excited than you. There was a movie out years ago about mothers and, their daughters in pageants and stuff. Drop Dead Gorgeous, I think was the movie. Are you familiar with that?
I'll have to watch it.
Check it out. It's funny. It just sort of reminds you that, the mothers can be a little bit more cutthroat in the end. Where
Yeah.
So
they're just dedicated. That's all. They're just dedicated.
Well, that's good. They should be, because, this is their babies. These are their daughters. This is their life as well. They're invested just as much as you are. So, that's great. So Miss Philadelphia leads you into competing for another title coming up.
Yes. I will compete for Miss Pennsylvania, the state title, in June, I want to say. So I've got just a couple of months to prepare and get ready to perform on the state stage. And if I am to win that, we'll see. I go on to Miss America, which is, insane to even think about. Oh my gosh, it gets my heart pumping every time I think about it. If I win Miss Pennsylvania, I go to Miss America. But and in the end, no matter what happens, it's going to be an incredible experience. I can't wait for pageant weekend. Can't wait to be with all the other title holders. But it's going to be amazing, no matter what. So I'm excited.
Well, the statistics that I was looking at. There are quite a few Miss Philadelphia who have went on to be Miss Pennsylvania.
Yes. In fact, Alyssa, the current Miss Pennsylvania, is a former Miss Philadelphia. So, I mean, we've got a pretty good track record. So, I don't
Yeah. That's
know.
good. Well, that's all. Are you excited or nervous or all the above about this?
All of the above, all of the above. I mean, I'm so looking forward to it, but I'm also just nervous, just everything. I can't wait really. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an amazing experience. This will be my very first state pageant competing in the Miss category, and not the teen category. So I can't wait. I think it's going to be an overall an amazing experience no matter what happens. I'm looking forward to it a lot.
So, with all this going on, with all this hustle, all this bustle, with 3 calendars, with all these different color highlighters, with this life you're leading right now, with another pageant coming up in June,
Mhm.
other than, the cartoons you watch, what is your outlet? What is the thing that keeps you at peace or gives you some Zen moments?
Mhm. I love to run. I really do. But much more than I love to run. I love to play video games. So I just like to sit down and, I think I've got nerd blood because my dad is a video gamer. My brother is a video gamer. So the three of us, we sit down, we, put our headsets on and get our mics ready and we play Overwatch, this really fun video game together online. And it's just awesome getting to, crush my dad and brother is really amazing.
So you are that far of a gamer that you have the headset and the
Oh,
microphones, like the mount.
full, like,
Wow.
I have the red, blue, green, like, rainbow keyboard set up, like, I am full on nerd mode gamer girl, but I can't aim, that's the only thing, so I'm still working on that, but, I still love to play, it's great, and I still get to beat my brother and dad, which, works out.
So you have a brother. Do you have any other siblings other than your brother?
Nope, just him.
Okay.
He's alright, I guess.
Older or younger?
He's older, he's my older
Uh,
brother, and
Okay.
that's what makes, beating up on him in video games all the better.
Oh, it's like in your face, bro. It's
Yeah.
not a bad thing.
He's definitely gonna say, what are you talking about? I always beat you. And I'm gonna say, well, you weren't on the interview, so oh well.
Nobody else has to know it, just us. We're
Yeah.
good. And that's maybe where you get it from then. Your father, your brother gamers.
Mhm,
That's you went right home after school, so you were in the house, just found these outlets, and you enjoy.
mhm, yeah,
What would you tell somebody either through the STEM Queen program, your initiative, or
mhm.
through just Miss Philadelphia, or just from Jackie Means? What would you tell somebody young that's wanting to enter the pageants or wanting to do what you're doing? What would be the advice you'd give to them?
My best piece of advice would be just start. I mean, you never know unless you try, which sounds so cheesy, but it really is true. I don't know if you've seen The Office, but I love that quote where it goes, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott, and I love that quote. It's very silly, but it's true. You really do. And if you don't just go for it, you'll never know what could have been or what might have happened if you had just tried. So just start. I mean, if you want to give back, do something that you like to do. If you like to, skateboard, you can go and teach kids at community centers how to skateboard. If you like to bake, you can go and teach kids how to bake. I mean, take whatever you like to do and just share that because that's all you really have to do. Who would have thought that, kids would love doing science experiments with me? I would have thought that they'd say, girl, you're boring, get out of here. But they're into it, because I'm so passionate about it and they can feel that. So just, taking something you love to do and sharing that. I think that if everyone did a little bit more of that, the world would be a much better place.
I love that, and I don't think boring is a word that would describe you at all. I don't see
Well,
that
thank
fitting
you.
into your world. I do not see that at all. um, so other than the gaming, then anything else
Mhm,
fun? I mean, you're gonna have, like I said, the next year is gonna be blown up for you. You're gonna have to
mhm.
find some types of escapes. I mean, are you gonna get the Nintendo Switch and take it with you, or what are you gonna be doing?
Um, well, running is another thing I love to do.
Okay,
I love to go
so
on either early morning runs or late night runs. But there's running, there's video gaming. I love to bake. What else? That's really it. I mean, just spending time with my family and my friends and, enjoying all the wonderful little moments life has to offer. From playing board games with my family, and, right after that, not talking to them for a week because we're all way too competitive. But just, you know, doing things that make my heart happy, whether that's running, whether that's gaming, whether that's time with my family and friends, doing things that, make my heart happy and bring me peace.
so what's your favorite board game?
I really love Monopoly, but there's another game called Coup that my brother recently introduced my family to, and it is an insane game of like lying and deception and convincing your other members at the table that you're not who they think you might be. It's a very fun game. I'm not the best liar. I just smile all the time. So like if I'm lying, I smile even harder, and they know I'm lying. But I'm getting better. So we'll see. Maybe I'll win a couple of games next time we have family game night.
Nice. I've never heard of that game. I mean,
It's fun. It's coup.
Coup.
COUP. Some people think it's COO. No, not like a bird.
Oh, like
Coup.
a coup d'etat. Um, so Monopoly, that
Mhm.
shows competitive right there. You know,
Yeah,
wanting to
yeah.
like Monopoly and win it and play it. Not many people want to play Monopoly unless
It's
you
an
want to
all-day
win.
affair.
It is. It is. What's your favorite piece in Monopoly? What do you want to be? What's
I love to be the little car. That's my favorite one. I like to go like vroom vroom down the board.
That's great. That's great. I want to go back to STEM Queen though, real quick.
Yeah.
As far as STEM Queen goes, when you look at that, what did you hope would happen, and what are you looking to fulfill with the mission of it over the next few years?
Yeah, so when I started it, my goal really was just to get the neighborhood girls like to do
Mhm.
experiments with me. That was the whole goal. And then obviously that's grown in the last several years to going to
You wanted
different
other people
schools,
to nerd out
community
with you is what you
centers.
wanted. You
Say
wanted
again?
other people. You wanted other people to nerd out with you is what you wanted.
I did.
Yeah.
I just wanted them to do some nerdy stuff with me. But it's grown so into so much more than
Hmm.
that. You know, I've had the
Yeah.
opportunity to not only do that in my home city of Wilmington, but also my new home of Philadelphia, but also on national television. Shows like the Steve Harvey Show, the Kelly Clarkson Show, The View, the Today Show, and so many others. I've gotten to do my science experiments on national TV, which just, expands my mission and my platform to so many more people, not just, on the East Coast, but throughout the entire nation, which has been really amazing to see that, by doing what I love to do, my little STEM stuff, I get to share, that, hey, this is something that everybody can do. Because representation it really is so important. I mean, it's so powerful for little girls to see, a woman of color doing science, and they go, oh my gosh, what? I didn't know we could do that. I can do that, and just showing them that it's possible. And one thing I love to emphasize is that not only, is it fun to do nerdy stuff that involves STEM, but also it's very lucrative. There's,
Mhm.
I want to say the average for STEM occupations is like $100,000 compared to non-STEM occupations, which is
Mhm.
$55,000. So that's just an additional motivator, for more women to get into this field because it can bring, not only, you feel content with your job in the STEM field, but financial independence, which is so important for women to be able to gain that. So just benefits across the board for being in the STEM field.
That's excellent. Wow, that's you don't hear that too often. You don't hear people talk about the sciences too often. You don't hear
Mhm.
people discuss it. You hear the arts constantly. You know
Yeah.
that people are looking to do the arts and they want to push the arts, which is great because we need that. But we also need those sciences to have them pushed. I mean, there's charter schools out there today that are called STEM high schools. You know, the STEM
Mhm.
academies.
Mhm.
Did you go to one?
No, no, I went to the Delaware Military Academy, which was also a little bit of a struggle for me because it really is like a military school. Like it's a big deal in Delaware when you get in because the wait list is like 300 kids or something. They only accept like
Wow.
130 kids. So it was awesome that I got to go. I loved it, but I learned very quickly that I cannot be as smiley as I always am because there's a thing called bearing, and you have to be like stoic when you're in
Hmm.
like your military uniform and you're marching and whatnot. But I was so happy to be there. I was just smiling the whole time. But I figured it out. I ended up finishing with a very high rank of Bravo Battalion Commanding Officer and being a part of all the different ROTC activities. But I had to learn to be very stoic very quickly.
Did they ever say to you, wipe that smile off your face?
Yeah, no, it
Did they
was they
really?
would go bearing and then they'd say drop and then you go, okay, one sir, two sir, while you do your push-ups for
Oh,
smiling.
wow. So you had to do
Yeah.
push ups because you smiled.
I mean, you have to show respect, and it's
Hmm.
in the cadet handbook that you have to, be straight faced when you're
Hmm.
doing your marching or your facing movements and whatnot. But of course, you're allowed to smile outside of that. You just can't
Right.
be beaming when you're sitting there, flipping your rifle back and forth.
It's not a baton, you know? So,
Yeah,
so you went there
exactly.
all 4 years of high school?
I did all 4 years. Loved every minute of it. I was in probably every club under the sun. I mean, from chess club to and sports too: chess, cheer, track, dance, basketball, everything. I loved it.
You didn't stop, huh? You were constantly going.
Nope. I have so much energy. I have to, give it all off. So I just was happy to be a part of all the different clubs and sports and again, be a member of that community. That's something that I think is so evident in everything I do. I love to be a part of whatever community, I'm an active member of.
It's very cool. You went from military army fatigues and ROTC clothing to pageant wear and evening
Yes.
gowns and a sash and a
Yes.
tiara. You know,
Yeah.
Uh, you are very well rounded, Jackie. You are very,
Thank
very
you.
well rounded. I
I
really,
appreciate that.
oh no, hey, you did it, not me. So, um, what is it that, when you were looking at, that night on stage and they had everybody up there, how'd that feel? What was that feeling? What's that feeling like?
It really is just so surreal. I mean, you practice for months and months for that moment, and then you go through all the phases. You do your interview, you do your talent, you give them your pitch, you answer your onstage question, and then the moment comes. And it's just like I can't believe this is happening. Like I feel like I'm dreaming or something, and then that feeling is even intensified when they call your name because then it's like pinch me. I really am dreaming. But it was real life, and I am beyond blessed and excited to be Miss Philadelphia. I mean, it's still so surreal for me when I wake up and I get to put on this crown and this sash and have this title and be that positive role model. I mean, it means the absolute world. It's surreal. I mean, from that onstage moment even to now, it's like I can't believe I get to do this.
That's great. So when they announced your name, did it take you a few seconds to register, or were you right away like,
Yes. Yes,
yeah?
because they have the Lincoln band on stage too, and they did like an
Hmm.
actual drum roll, and
Hmm.
I was like, "Did they say Jacqueline or something else?" Like, no one else's name up here sounds like Jacqueline, but like, let's just confirm it was me. But it was me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" So it was really amazing. It was incredible.
Very cool. What is your favorite class? So, we're talking about STEM. We were talking about physics before. What's your
Yes.
favorite class you're taking
As
right now?
interesting as physics is, it is a very interesting subject, but it's also a challenging subject.
Hmm.
But my favorite is definitely anatomy. I find human anatomy so fascinating. I mean, there are so many layers to the body. We have so many different systems. I mean, it's incredible. And to get to study all of that is so much fun. And it's even just to be able to go into my labs. Like last week, I dissected a lamb heart, which was so cool. They're actually incredibly similar to human hearts. So to take the scalpel and slice into it and see all the internal stuff and whatnot was so cool. So just anatomy is absolutely my favorite subject by far.
So, did you have at the military academy like biology, advanced biology, where you dissected things?
We didn't do any dissections like that. We did more like actual like science stuff.
Hmm.
But not saying anatomy isn't science stuff and dissections aren't, but like chemistry based stuff. So we did
Okay.
a lot with Bunsen burners, and
Hmm.
taking different powders and seeing how it reacts with the fire and changes the color and all of that. I had a forensic class at DMA where we did like blood splatter patterns and fingerprinting and all that good stuff, which was really fun too.
Oh, that sounds cool. I like
Oh
that.
yeah,
The
it was fun.
dissecting part, I have a hard time with. I mean, I never only ever dissected a worm and a frog in school, and that was, a little
Yeah,
squeamish to
yeah.
me. So that takes
It's
a
definitely
lot.
not for everybody. Even in one of my lab mates was like, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yes, give me the scalpel." And she was like, "Great," because I don't want to do it. But it all worked out. I loved
That's great. Oh my gosh. This has been my head right now is so full of so much. I want to ask you so many questions at once that it's like
it.
I'm getting myself off track because you just have a very interesting life. You are
Yeah.
extremely you're extremely well rounded to the point that I have not met somebody recently that can do all that you do or has done all that you have
I
done for
take
the
that
age of
as a
20.
great compliment.
For 20 years old, yeah, you've done a lot. You've accomplished a lot.
You. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's and a large part of that is due to my mom. I mean, she has, like I said, been my number one supporter, but also my number one motivator. I mean, she is the reason I started to give back in the first place because I remember saying to her, like, Ma, it's I can't go outside. Well, what's up with that? We live in a bad neighborhood. It's I want to do something to give back. And she was like, well, you can do that by starting with yourself. You don't have to you can always join another organization, which is great, but you have a passion for science and tech and engineering and math. So why don't you use that and make your own thing? Make your own organization to give back through. And she has been just giving that kind of support, that kind of inspiration for my whole life, and especially over the last 8 years through my initiative and through pageants and everything, been just right there with me along this journey. So she is just someone who I just adore. And I'm so grateful that she is my mom, and there for me throughout everything I do. I mean, she's the best person I know.
That's awesome. So she's the one who inspired you to, because you mentioned giving back several times today.
Mhm,
So she's the
mhm.
one who inspired you to do that.
Oh
Are
yeah,
you,
yeah.
is
She
your
was the one who helped me solidify that idea because I think I said originally the idea was to just like get the neighborhood girls to
Mhm.
do it with me, to
Right?
come over to my house, do a couple experiments, and be done. And she was like, no, no, no. Number one, they're not coming to my house. Number two, you can do something more with that. So she really is my right hand man. She's been right here with me through everything.
Is your family still in Southbridge, part of
Yep,
Wilmington?
yep. My
They
parents
are.
are. Yeah.
Yeah. And how has anything changed there since you were younger?
I would say the violence is a little less now than I
Okay.
remember, because the actual like instant motivator for me to create my initiative was I actually saw someone get shot right across the street from my house, like literally, like not even like a block, like not exaggerating, literally the street right like outside my window. And it was crazy because I remember being like, you always hear, don't go outside, there's violence out there, there's gun shootings and whatnot. Just stay inside and keep your head low when you come in. And I was like, well, whatever. They're just saying it. You see it on the news, you hear about it from your parents, but then that happened. And that was when I said, okay, this is like a real problem in my neighborhood. And that was the kind of instant where I said, you know what, I've got to do something because this, I can't just, sit by and let this continue to happen without trying to put some good out there. So that was the instant motivator. But that was really kind of what set off everything. I had this want to give back already, and then that happened. It really was just the flame that made everything, click together for me.
Wow. Something of trauma sparked this inside of you to be able to do this, and you've embraced
Absolutely.
it and carried it. A lot of people will let it affect them. You didn't. You actually empowered yourself with it and to give back to others. So I applaud you
Oh,
for that. That's just great.
thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you. It's
welcome.
really taken something that was so negative and turned it into a positive has been one of the best things in my life that I've been able to do. Continue to give back and just try to continue putting good out there.
And it's very interesting. I mean, because you're here representing Philadelphia, and Philadelphia has really got a notorious reputation right now for all the violence and especially the gun violence that's going on
Mhm.
here in our city and things along those lines. So a platform that you have just segues right into that. So that's great, especially with having that actual real life experience too.
Totally,
So
totally. And it's so another reason that I feel that this platform I have in particular is so important is because it lets kids know that there is another path. You are not defined by your zip code, you're not defined by your surroundings and what happens in your surroundings. You're defined by where you want to go. So don't feel that you're tied down and have to do what you see others around you doing because you don't. This I grew up, like I said, in Southbridge, which has been dubbed Murder Town USA by Newsweek. And, I didn't let that define me. I didn't say, oh, well, my fate's already decided. No, my fate is in my own hands. So if I take, my life into my hands and do the things that need to be done to go a different path, my path, of course, the STEM occupation path, I can leave that behind. So let other kids know that they can do the same thing, that STEM and making it out is a very real possibility for them as long as they try.
I just love what you just said. You are not defined by your zip code.
Mhm,
And that
mhm,
is such a great thing to hear because I myself run a nonprofit right here in Philadelphia in the Kensington area.
mhm.
And, most people think of Kensington and they think of a bad connotation about it. So to hear something like that, you're not defined by your zip code, that's an inspiration. We need you to come over here. We need you to speak with, the youth over
I would love to.
here.
I would
Yeah.
love to.
We would love to have you for sure. Definitely would love to
Yeah,
have you. So, but
we'll
this
make
is
it happen.
just, I plan on, I'll hold you to it. Trust me. I will hold you to
And I will hold
it.
myself to it.
That's great. This has been a great hour of conversation. This has been such a refreshing thing. Like I said, a few years ago, I knew nothing about pageants. I would
Mhm.
never expected to be talking to somebody who was in a pageant, but Alyssa opened up myself to it, my mind to it, and everything.
Mhm.
And you actually have just given me so much more, respect towards what you do and all you go
Thank
through and the
you.
road you travel to get there. So
Thank you
congratulations.
so much. I
Oh,
really
you're
appreciate
welcome
that.
so
I have
much.
so enjoyed talking with you. I feel that even people oftentimes, they think of a pageant girl, they think of someone who, is just pretty on the outside and that's it, and there is so much more. Pageant girls and really just everybody. But I want to specifically emphasize that pageant girls are so multidimensional. I mean, you might look at me and think, oh, she just has that crown. She just wore a pretty dress and that's why she won. No, I am a passionate advocate for volunteers and specifically with STEM. I'm a passionate advocate for letting girls get into STEM and showing them that, this is something we can do. And, so many other things, a video gamer, a chess player, a runner, a dancer, everything, So showing people that there is so much more to pageant girls. You have women. Pageant women are some of the smartest people I have ever met. There are lawyers who do pageants. There are doctors who do pageants, pre-med students who do pageants. I mean, just amazing women who are doing incredible things, not only to advance themselves, but to, better their communities. So really, I mean, pageant girls, some of the coolest people you'll ever meet.
I agree. I mean, I'm talking to one of them right now, so I love it. Well, Jacqueline, I really appreciate this, and I look forward to connecting again with you for sure. And,
Absolutely.
if you ever want to come back on the show and talk as things progress, I would love to have it and see where you are in a few months, maybe
Hmm.
after Miss Pennsylvania, and see how you do there.
Yeah, let you know how it went.
Well, good luck with that as well. But
Thank you.
Jacqueline, I appreciate this, and it's been a great day talking with you. And like I said, I welcome to have you back, and good luck with the next year, and try to get some rest sometime.
I'll try. I'll try. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for having me, and
Oh, you're
hopefully we
welcome.
can reconnect again in the future.
Awesome, awesome. And this is Britt Carpenter on USALA Radio. I want to thank Jacqueline Means, our newly crowned Miss Philadelphia, for joining me today. I want to thank my men in the booth over here, Danny and Phil and Dylan, for always keeping me on track, hopefully, I think. And to the rest of you, always remember, whatever you stand for, be a voice. Have a great day.